are you doing? I'm on a trip out to Woodlands Harley-Davidson. I don't know if this will be my last trip on this motorcycle or not, but I got to do something. Money is way too tight, and I'm going to see how much I can get for it. We'll see what kind of offer they give me, if it's feasible, if there's something we can do. And that little string's gonna annoy the hell out of me, but it's raining off and on. Road gets a little wet. I'm not so much worried. I'll try to tuck it back in if I get to a stop sign or something. But depends on what it is. I mean, Blue Book says this thing's worth like 19.6 something. I still owe a little more than that, and of course that's with ESP added to it. For those of you who know how that works, you take the ESP off, I think I owe a little less than what it's worth. That's how things work when you finance them. You know, you get a couple years into the note before you actually start paying on it. Hell, we were 10 years into our house note before we actually started paying on our house. You're paying off all that interest and everything else, and it's like this weird scale thing. As you're paying on it, you start paying more and more towards the principal, you know. And then if you decide to pay everything off, all of a sudden you have no credit. Your credit sucks, and people look at you like you're nobody because you're not paying on anything. It's like, well, you need to have a note on something. No, I don't. Honestly, if I pay everything off that I have right now, I wouldn't care about my credit rating. All that is how good you are at paying off banks. And while we do need them, don't get me wrong, it's like a catch-22. You know, you buy a, well, when I bought my house, it was like $80,000, and you'll pay $300,000 on that house before you pay that off, and the bank's pocket the rest. But are you going to have $80,000 to give them, especially paying rent and everything else up front? And I was in my 20s when I bought the house. Kind of the same, like, you know, the bike. You got $19,000 cash just to hand them. Some of you do. A lot of you don't. And so it's like the kind of like the poor tax in a way, until you get really rich. Now, people that are really rich, they're not worried about the little numbers we're worried about. They'll take out loans and finance and stuff like that because they have hard and liquid assets. It's a whole different thing. You know, they're not going to pay $5 billion cash. They're going to get a loan on $5 million cash, and hopefully whatever they bought is going to make them enough money, it's going to pay it back. It's a whole different thing. I'm not in that situation. I'm in the situation of, I am working people, blue collar, working American, taxed to death. My groceries have doubled. It's getting to the point that I can't afford food. It is at the point that I can't afford food, and I got to cut my costs down a little bit. If I get rid of any of them, I want to get rid of this one. They're probably going to say, well, trade the other one in, but I don't want to take a long trip on this bike. I mean, I could do it, I guess. I'd have to change the seat and a few other things. This is good for around town, maybe a day trip, but yeah, I don't think you'd want to take a long trip on this without doing some serious modifications. Find some kind of seat with a backrest. I got the highway pegs, get some higher bars maybe, I don't know. Definitely a better seat, a windshield. But it's also only got a 3.5 gallon tank. You can put the bigger 5 gallon tank on it, by the way. But then look how much money you've put into it. And if it was your only bike, yeah, cool. Do that. But I don't want to do that. And if I've got to get rid of one, it's going to be this one. As much as I love this bike, I like the bike. This is a great bike. It's all grunty and powerful and does everything I ask. Well, my GoPro's dead. This is lovely. No, didn't get another bike. I do have one for sale. Rainy Rider. This sucks.